The latest intel suggests that Corey Davis is not coming back to the New York Jets, but he is coming back to the NFL. Why the heck didn't the New York Jets get something out of it? Let's talk about it.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show. Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby. For me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Hey, what's poppin', everybody? Paul Lesden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. And welcome wherever you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or after the fact in the audio-only version. We appreciate you. It's time to talk about Corey Davis. And so there's been a lot of rumors for a while. So let's start back at the beginning. There's been a lot of rumors for a while that, maybe Corey Davis would return in the middle of last year, near the end of last year, but then the Jets were out of the playoff mix. Maybe he'll come back this offseason. He's liking some social media posts. We're hearing whispers. And then we get the news that Corey Davis is applying for reinstatement and is returning to the NFL. And I think there's initial, a lot of Jet fans, I think, are split. Some are like, I don't want Corey Davis back. Others like, we want him back. Wherever you stand, there's like a little palpable buzz, a little fog in the social media streets of like, wow, okay, Corey Davis come back. What does it all mean? Because obviously the Jets need a receiver. So, and he was with the team through August last year. So there would be a thing that makes sense there. And then the Jets released Corey Davis from the reserve retired list, making him an unrestricted free agent to sign with any team. Now, the Jets had his rights, so they could have brought him back on the team. They could have traded him. There's a lot of things they could have done, but the New York Jets chose not to do that. And the latest intel reveals that Corey Davis, he leaving. Okay, this is from Rich Cimini's Sunday morning column. And this is what he said. This is Rich Cimini. The Jets would welcome him back. This is Corey Davis, who applied for reinstatement after opting to sit out last season to compete for a roster spot. But the sense is, this is Rich Cimini, is that he, Corey Davis, will explore the market and prefers a team closer to his home in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm heartless. Actually, I am heartless because you know what? The NFL is a business. This is a business, and you have to maximize your assets. You don't just do right by players for no reason. I understand doing right by players like in the best possible situation you can. Like, think about the Bears, right? So they trade Justin Fields to the Steelers. They don't get as much as I'm sure they were hoping for, but they get a 6. They get something for Justin Fields. They didn't just release him and let him pick any team he wanted. Just like the Jets with Zach Wilson, okay? It would benefit Zach Wilson for the Jets to just cut him and let him sign with any team. But the Jets are trying to trade him. Why? It's a business. They want to get an asset for him. Plus, they want to save a little on the cap. So the Jets could do right, quote unquote, by Zach Wilson by just releasing him to the streets and allowing him to find one of these open, vacant quarterback jobs. But they're not, because they're doing their due diligence to do everything in their power to try to trade him, because that's what you do if you're an NFL team. The thing that I don't understand is why the New York Jets, especially if Corey Davis ends up in a different place, and the latest intel from Rich Cimini suggests he is 1,000% going to end up in a different place, that he wants to go to a place that's closer to his home in Nashville. Well, New York, Nashville, not really close. Sure, with flight and travel and everything, a private jet, you could get there in no time. But despite the fact the Jets have a need a wide receiver, they're investigating other waters. Mike Williams arrived last night in New Jersey, and he's set to meet with the Jets today. There's the whispers of OBJ, so it looks like the Jets are clearly looking in another direction. But no matter what, you could have gotten something for Corey Davis. I'm hearing in the Tennessee Titans streets that they want Corey Davis back, regardless of where he sits, because you got Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Traylon Burks. You got a bunch of people over there. I don't know the Titans roster A to Z, but they seem to be welcoming Corey Davis back potentially. Why wouldn't you send him to Tennessee for a 6th or a 5th or something? I don't know. I don't know what his value is coming off the couch, but You could have gotten something for him, especially if he ends up signing. If he doesn't end up signing, okay, he never got another shot. No teams wanted him, so he applied for reinstatement apparently for no reason because no teams wanted him. I imagine he's going to be on an NFL roster, and the Jets could have gotten an asset. That's my point. I still don't understand. I'm waiting. Again, we're hoping to get a couple of insiders on this week. I'll let you guys know if we're able to get them because I'd love them to answer that question because maybe there's some secret answer I don't know for why the Jets did that. But besides trying to be a nice guy or gal. But so far, it doesn't seem that way. So the whole Corey Davis thing, especially because the Jets need a receiver. If the Jets didn't need a receiver, I still probably would have wanted an asset. But if they didn't need a receiver, you're like, you know what? Let's do this guy a solid. Let's do him a solid. I don't understand why you would be doing him a solid. You love the guy, I guess, but he's under contract. He was under your rights. You could have exclusively negotiated one-on-one to bring him back for a cheaper deal without competing against anyone in the NFL, or you could have traded his rights for anything. A player, a draft pick, I don't know. Who knows? Until you dip your toe in the water, do you understand what is the market or what is not the market? So I'm not trying to beat up on Joe Douglas here because I think he's done a really good job this offseason. The offensive line is spectacular. I love the offensive line. The Secret Service, as the nickname's been coined. I believe Rich Eisen was the first on that one. But there's been some stuff he's messed up. The Bryce Huff situation, letting a UDFA just walk right out the door, signing a crazy deal with the Eagles, the largest non-quarterback UDFA contract in NFL history. And then this one. So, again, I am more so a Joe Douglas guy than not. I know a lot of people are on the other side. But in this particular case, I'm just confused. I don't understand. I don't know why. That's my quarrel. That's my qualm with what's going on here. I just don't understand. FPP says the tackles are old. Morgan, Moses, Tyron Smith. I think we all have a different definition of old after Dwayne Brown was here. He's 38. Tyron Smith is 33. 5 years is a lot of time. That's half a decade. So I don't see the tackles as old. I've had a new, epiphany on what old means after Dwayne Brown. Like, I'm very happy with my fiance, but if I'm ever going cougar hunting, I have a new idea what 30 plus looks like. Let me just say that. Dakota J. Yep, there it is. No new news on Mike Williams. He supposedly, according to Adam Schefter, we were all kind of confused because it sounded like he was going to visit on Monday, but instead, Adam Schefter said he was arriving late last night and then visiting today. So that's what we've heard. That was Adam Schefter on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. So no intel that I know on that. And I don't think we got the details on when the Clowney visit is. Avatar says Corey didn't want to take a pay cut, and he took his ball and went home. Well, if he didn't want to take a pay cut, I don't know how the reinstatement would have worked. I guess maybe the Jets are forced to do that. I guess I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I guess maybe he can throw a tantrum. I guess and refuse to do anything. Yeah, I guess that's one point I hadn't considered. They're like, hey, you're not playing on $10.5 million. You're just on the couch. He's like, all right, then release me. Yeah, I guess that's possible. That's a fair point, Avatar. I don't really have a retort to that at this moment. Kuka says they've been too nice to players. Bryce Huff, now Corey. After what Burns went for, Huff would have definitely been at least traded for some assets. That's what I'm saying. Even if you got a fifth or a fourth or a third, okay, add pieces to the puzzle and then you can use them to trade. Think about this, right? So people will say, Paul, what would Corey Davis have gone for? A sixth or seventh? Okay, let's say that's what he went for. The Jets used a sixth or seventh in the trade to acquire Morgan Moses. That seemed like an important piece of the puzzle. So getting more assets can only help. When people say, 3 comp picks, you only got a sixth and 2 sevenths. I'm like, sign me up. More picks, the better. I want more opportunities, more lotto tickets. Of course, there have been great players selected at that portion of the draft, and then you could trade them for veterans. We've seen it throughout history. So, yeah, would have preferred something there for sure. Okay, let's catch up to you bastards here on Boy Green Daily. Red John, I hear Traylon Burks is on the Jets' radar. Yeah, I heard some random Twitter account say that. I'll have to look more into that, but, I don't think Traylon Burks is the kind of guy I'm going after, to be honest. So We've got Jason Brownlee. We got Xavier Gibson. We got Alan Lazard. We got Garrett Wilson. We have 4 receivers, and we need 2 more. If I need 2 more, I don't think Traylon Burks is on my list. The 2 I'm probably going for, in my mind, is a veteran or trade. Like a real veteran, like Mike Williams, OBJ, a trade, the obvious names, T. Higgins, Ayuk, that kind of thing, that kind of splash, Sutton, whatever, that kind of splash, and then draft. Why would I want another team's failed, injured former first round pick who his contract is going to be more up? I don't know. I'm not really interested. I know Connor Rogers is a big fan of Traylon Burks coming out of the draft, but I don't think I'm touching that. So I'll look into that, but I would personally, I'm not touching that. Let's see. John Sauer says, I assume he pissed JD off. He just wanted him gonzo. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to wildly speculate, I suppose. Phil, the Jets believe in their system more than the players. Huff not looked at as a priority. Now let's go to this. Phil, it's an interesting point. He's looked at as more of a system. Back in the day, okay, there was a belief that Mike Shanahan could put any running back in his backfield and they would crank 1,000 yards. There was that belief. And he was a system guy. Do you know what they did? They traded Clinton Portis, Dr. Do-It Big, for Champ Bailey, the Hall of Famer. So, even though a player may be viewed as a system guy, you could still move that asset. Tom Brady at points was looked at a system guy, but you could still get assets for it. I think that's my overall point. Let's go to Johnny here. Any news on our guys we need to re-sign? Ashton, Hardy, etc. The latest from Ashton, apparently, is that he wants to be a starter. It's a slow safety market. Like Justin Simmons is still out there. Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, insert big name safety is still out there. So Ashton, I think he may not find what he's looking for. And ultimately that could lead to a re-signing with the Jets. So the latest on Ashton, he's looking for a starting gig. If he can get it, awesome. I'll be rooting for him. But good luck. I don't think that's happening. So that means a potential return. Hardy's a tough one. Because, of course, I want him back. Thomas Morstead said on our show that he wants him back. He used our platform to say, please, bring back Hardy if he was making the decisions. But the problem is the Jets, from Hardy's tweets, it sure looks like, as we're playing investigative interpreter, like it really looks like the Jets must have told him, or not responded, because he's going off on Twitter, of saying special teams is important, don't forget that, and things of that nature. That doesn't sound good. Now the thing is, they have Irv Charles, who's this special teamer, but with all the receivers the Jets are going to add, is he wide receiver 8 or 7? And then he's never going to play on offense. And we heard at the tail end of last year, if you guys watch the exit interviews on the Jets website, Thomas Morstead talked about how Irv Charles really needs to kind of I don't want to put words in his mouth. You guys can listen to it, but it was something to the effect of he challenged Irv to really step up to the plate, and he's got a lot of potential, but he's really got to commit to the game and learn from Hardy and stuff like that. So it doesn't sound like he's ready. Long story short, the kid Isaiah Oliver they got from San Francisco, he's a special teamer too. So was that a replacement for Hardy? Gosh, I hope not. It seems like it was interpreted as a replacement for Bryce Hall. So TBD on that. So TBD. All right, let me go back. Let me see if I missed anything at the top real quick. Let me see. You bastards here on Boy Green Daily. Yeah, Tyron Smith is awesome. I agree. Let's see. Packer starting left tackle is a 7th rounder. Right tackle is a 4th rounder. Very nice. Avatal says, Salah is bottom 5 in the sport. Hope he proves me wrong. I don't think I could call him bottom 5 in the sport. We got to see what he does with a quarterback. He's never had a quarterback. Let's judge him on that. His defense has been awesome. What happened if he has Aaron Rodgers? Imagine he's going to look a lot better. So I'm going to reserve judgment there too. Although the magnifying glass will be heightened because when you have Aaron Rodgers, in theory, you're going to be playing in a lot more closer games, which means those key coaching decisions are going to be magnified. How does he handle those situations? That will be the big telltale, I think, coming up here in 2024. Good morning, John, part of the Boy Green Superfan Club. Appreciate you. Jared B. Zoinks. Yes. Again, the Boy Green Superfan Club option is for all those watching on YouTube. You guys can join the channel. Feel free. We appreciate you. Got like 700 people here right now, 500 on Twitter, 200 plus on YouTube, and a couple on Heavy on Jets. We appreciate you. Good riddance on Corey Davis. No Corey, no OBJ. Avital. Then who do you want, Avital? No Corey, no OBJ. I don't think Corey's coming back anyway, based on the latest intel. And Mike Williams again is visiting right now, it looks like. Okay. Any player that doesn't want to be here, I don't want him. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have OBJ, John Sauer says. Okay, welcome. Yes. I see people speculating on what they believe it is for Corey Davis. I'm not going to speculate. We don't know what it is, so I'm not going to just randomly throw dart throws on why he stepped away last year. We don't know that. It's all rampant, crazy speculation in the social media streets, so I will not be diving my toe in those waters. That's one thing I saw. So Mario says this on Twitter. One of the reasons, I think Samini had it in his piece. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Yeah, so somewhere in Corey Davis's piece, I'll see if I could. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. But long story short, there was like we don't know the reason that he walked away, but something in here, yeah, I can't see it immediately. One thing we can speculate on that's not just non-football stuff is that I think it was from Samini where Corey Davis saw like the writing on the wall, sort of to what Mario's saying here, and looked around at all these other people because remember the Jets were going heavy after OBJ. Obviously, they signed Alan Lazard. They brought in Randall Cobb, and they have all these pieces. And Corey Davis is like, where am I fitting here? And that's basically what I believe. I'm like 99% sure it was Rich, but I didn't have it in front of me. That Corey Davis kind of read the room and said, nah, I'm out. That's what teammates, I guess, told Rich Samini, that they speculated that was part of the reason he decided to walk away. If so, that's kind of weird. Like you just say, see ya? Because, like, again, if things didn't work out, he would have been cut and he could have saw whatever he wanted to, but he ends up walking away. So, yeah, that one's interesting. Armani says, OBJ has done, he was pedestrian at best last season. I politely disagree. Politely. I think the statistics don't tell the whole story. I do not think they tell the whole story there. I think if you watch some of those games at the back end of last year, you'll be pleasantly surprised with some of the juice it looks like he still has. Okay. John Sauer says, I don't want OBJ, but at least he'd be here all year. Oof. Yikes. Shots fired, I suppose. People explaining the Traylon Burks thing we answered. Yeah. Let's see. Just believe system more than the players. Yep. Good for Dakota being home. Yeah, again, no on Traylon Burks. No, thank you. I do not want any part of that. Yeah, I feel like the roster construction, again, is veteran trade and then draft are the other ways. Jared B. I guess ZW isn't going to San Fran with the signing of Josh. Josh Dobbs. Yeah. He goes to San Fran. And then last night, I mean, we can do this later, I guess, but last night, or yesterday, rather, I just tweeted it last night, I guess. Mike LaFleur is open to a reunion with Zach Wilson? What the? Huh? Yeah, here it is from Albert Breer. Let me bring up this tweet. Also, I would play it, but I don't have the rights to it. 1 second. Hang on tight, Jared B. Let's Yeah, let's go to share screen. Here we go. Let's go to Twitter. Okay, you guys will have to click it. I have a funny song on this picture of Zach Wilson, Mike LaFleur, but well, that's a plot twist. Albert Breer said the Rams, the LA Rams, have been, quote, a logical landing spot for Jets quarterback Zach Wilson. I'd say maybe even more so now with Jimmy Garoppolo signed in LA. And this is my kind of interpretation. In theory, Wilson could plug in as a developmental third string, which, quote, would afford him some much needed time. Could use a reset and to sit for a year. Although Zach Rosenblatt, he painted a very ugly picture between how Mike LaFleur and Wilson ended last year. But according to Breer, quote, I've heard his old OC from the Jets, which is Rams OC Mike LaFleur, would be very open to a reunion, end quote. Okay. Didn't have that on my bingo card if Zach Wilson reunites with Mike LaFleur in L.A. Huh? What the? So, something to watch, I guess. But all the spots are clearing up, man. All the spots are clearing up. Think about it. He ain't going to Pittsburgh. He ain't going to Arizona now with the Desmond Ritter trade. Eagles have Kenny Pickett, and they were a team that liked Zach Wilson coming out of the draft. San Fran was a team that liked Zach Wilson coming out of the draft. So, boy, yeah, I don't know. Unless he's, because they have Purdy. Yeah, because they got Purdy, Brandon Allen, and Dobbs now. Yeah, oof. He's running out of spots. LA, if that's the construct, Stafford, Garoppolo, Zach Wilson, third string. If that relationship is really repaired, I guess. But that'd be weird. Maybe in a new spot. I don't know. That would be weird. Williams suggests or speculates Jets may be taking their time in Hardy and Davis, feeling that they could get them back regardless of interest by other teams. I don't think that on Davis, but maybe on Hardy and maybe on who else am I thinking of? Like David Bakhtiari. That's not even a re-signing situation. Like, oh yeah, we'll get him later. Probably. There's probably no rush there. Let's see. Let me see that real quick. What is okay? Someone asked this question earlier. Yeah, let's see. Oh, well, I mean, obviously, we saw it a little bit. So there are fines up to $5 million for each violation of being over the cap. So wait, where is this person? Someone asked. People asked this before. Brian, there you go. Brian, I've got your answer. What penalty do NFL teams face if they're over the salary cap? Here is your answer. The NFL salary cap is a hard salary cap. Penalties for violating or circumventing the cap regulations can include fines of up to $5 million for each violation, cancellation of contracts, and loss of draft picks. Now, how does this matter? Actually, San Francisco, although they didn't do it on purpose, but like even if you don't do something on purpose, you still do something terrible. Like if I'm swinging a baseball bat and I accidentally smack a car's window out, I am still responsible for the car window, even if I didn't intend to hit it. So in the same vein, I guess the 49ers made an accounting error back 2 years ago, and the NFL's taking care of them now for that error. Even though they didn't try to purposely circumvent the cap, they still made a mistake, and it resulted in an error in like some of their statements for NFL pay for the players. So they lost a 5th-round pick in 2025, plus their 4th-round pick got kicked to the end of the 4th round, which means the Jets actually moved up a draft slot randomly in the 4th round. So initially, the Jets had the number 111 overall pick and the number 113 overall pick. The 113 overall pick, they swapped with the Ravens back end of the 4th round pick as part of the Morgan Moses trade. So originally, the Jets went from 113 to 135. But because of that 49ers mistake, they're going from 131 to 135, which bumps up the Jets to 134. Did you catch all that? You might need a calculator. Anywho, long story short, you could the 49ers for an accidental accounting error. This isn't like being over on purpose and there was nothing they could do. They lost 2 draft picks, 2 day 3 picks. I mean, that's quite or not 2. They lost 1 and then 1 got like docked, like it got kicked a few picks. So pretty stern warning for a mistake. So just imagine if a team actually tried to break the rules and circumvent the cap and lie about the numbers. Oof. That could be a significant penalty, it appears. So money, draft picks, and cancellation of contracts. So like if they cheated for a contract, that person becomes a free agent again, null and void, and they probably get a penalty for it. So I know people have been asking about that. You're welcome. There's your answer. And it just affected the Jets this week. Like I said, they just rose up, rose up a pick. Okay. Jared B., many of the sacks Huff got, the quarterback was being pressured by several Jets defenders. That is the, what's the best way to say this? That is the gamble by the Eagles. Will Huff be as good outside of the Jets scheme? If I'm the Eagles, why didn't the Jets go harder after Huff? That seems weird. UDFA, 25-year-old premium pass rusher on a team that loves defense. Something like a red flag would probably pop up for me, but apparently it didn't for the Eagles because of the money they gave. So we'll see. Is he just this awesome pass rusher and he steps in there and kicks some ass? We'll see. I don't know. TBD, I suppose. But yeah, obviously, I know Quinnen didn't have this dominant stat year in terms of the raw stats that we all look at, like sacks and this number and that number. But interestingly enough, everyone else around him had career numbers. Bryce Huff, career high in sacks. Solomon Thomas, career high in sacks. Quentin Jefferson, career high in sacks. Jermaine Johnson, career high in sacks. So start going through the numbers. Will McDonald. I know that one doesn't count. His career is only 1 year, but I'll throw another name on there, I guess. But yeah, in all seriousness, though, that, all those other guys had it. So is that from playing with Quinnen? Or is that him? Or maybe a mix of both? I don't know. Our head coach can't develop a young quarterback. He's had one chance. Most teams, to be honest, Khalil, who comments in on Facebook, only get one chance, I suppose. So I don't know if we could say definitively one way or the other, but they drafted Zach Wilson and he wasn't good. I don't know. Let's see what else happens. Okay. Trade back, draft Brian Thomas Jr. If you guys missed the mock draft show yesterday, Kevin, that's exactly what we did. We were at 10 and traded back to 15, and Dom C he was making the picks. I was just the circus ringleader, right? I was just that guy. I was just pointing to the crowd. I was just kind of orchestrating the event, just kind of waving my wand, not really doing anything. Dom C was doing, I was just pressing the buttons back here. But that's what he did. Personally, if I would have traded back to 15, I probably would have went Brock Bowers. But you know what? Hey, Brian Thomas is a really exciting player too. Or take one of the offensive tackles. There's a lot of options. But yeah, we did that in our 7th round mock draft. If you guys missed that, check it out yesterday. There's Boyd Green Daily yesterday at 7:30. DJ Chark at wide receiver, that's a good one. Melvin, not a lot of people are talking about that. I don't know if the Jets are looking in those waters, but he's a dart throw player I like a lot. And plus, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to he's going to bump up. High tide rises all boats. I keep saying that. Let's go. A-Rod's left Achilles. Mr. Paul Boy, what do you think about the Jets trading for DTR? Very possible. That room is loaded in Cleveland. They've got Deshaun Watson. They've got Huntley from the Ravens. They just added. They have DTR. And who's the other one? There's like a 4th guy in there that's escaping me. Let me pull up the Browns depth chart real quick. Browns depth chart. I'm missing one other guy in that group that they have. Let me see here real quick. Okay. Dorian, Jameis Winston. That was the other one. So they have Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Tyler Huntley, and DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So sure, that'd be kind of intriguing. And Aaron Rodgers loves the kid. They're both California guys. So yeah, sure. That's another possibility. Rich Cimini, when he joined Anita Marks doing ESPN radio over the weekend, he said that they're definitely getting another quarterback. And he said it could come in the draft on this or like I can't remember how he described it, a young veteran or something. So yeah, DTR could be on the table. What do they want, a bag of Doritos or something for him? He's their 4th quarterback. I don't think you have to trade anything significant, but yeah, sure. He's a talented kid that showed a little pop in the preseason. And Aaron Rodgers seems to like him, so why not? Jackson asks on Twitter, are they going to bring in a senior offensive consultant? No, it sounds like. Brian Costello joined my show. So originally it came from Zach Rosenblatt in The Athletic. He reported that that's what the Jets were looking for. So it was a bunch of months ago. Apparently, the Jets looked at a bunch of names And one of the ones they wanted became an offensive coordinator in the NFL. So obviously a major promotion over the senior offensive consultant role he would have had. So one guy they chased, I know, became an OC in the league. So didn't get him. And then Brian Costello said they kind of just went, we'll just rock with what we got, basically. So they are not hiring offensive consultant anymore. So that was ruled out by Brian Costello on my show back during Combine Week. Okay. Good morning, KO. Joining us here on the show. Morning, Jet Nation. Appreciate you. On Heavy on Jets. Thank you to Heavy on Jets for supporting the show. We appreciate it. All right, let's see. Yeah, I don't think a Lazard trade is happening. They said the reporting was from The Athletic, that Alan Lazard was included in a trade proposal. Definitely inspired by the Jets, because if any other team offered anything for Alan Lazard, the Jets would have accepted it. So they clearly, in a trade, they were talking back and forth, hey, Alan Lazard, and the team was probably like, no, thank you. So nothing there. The Zach trade, there is nothing right now as far as we can hear. But hopefully, to Albert Breer's point, there's that QB3 thing. And then if it's a QB3, 7th rounder, maybe. So running out of places, running out of time. But again, the Jets will wait forever, in my opinion. I know a lot of Jet fans want them to cut him tomorrow. They get no cap benefit from cutting him tomorrow. And the team doesn't even meet as a team for another month. So what's the rush of cutting him? I don't understand. No one's at the facilities outside of like their own decisions to work out. I don't understand why everyone's in the rush to cut Zach Wilson. Literally, the team doesn't meet all together voluntarily for a month. Why are we in a rush? What's the big deal? Now, if you're just reading the writing on the wall and saying there's no way we're getting something and you cut him, I guess, but you're not getting any cap benefit, so I don't understand. Just wash your hands of it, I guess. I don't know. So an injury can happen, anything can happen, or maybe a team changes their mind. So nothing on Lazard. I don't think that's happening. Who in their right mind would trade for Lazard? The money doesn't make sense. The player was a healthy scratch on multiple occasions. That just doesn't make any sense. I don't see it. Avatar says, I'd go Mike Williams, but think we end up with OBJ and Chark. Not very happy with that. I don't think they get 2 veterans. I think they're picking 1 veteran and then the draft. I don't think they're ignoring the richness of this wide receiver draft class. So I think they're getting 1 veteran. We'll figure out where that is. Is it a sexy name? Is it a free agent? Is it a who? Is it a what? I don't know. But I don't think they're going double veteran. I'd be surprised by that. William, we tried signing OBJ last year. He said the offer was an insult to him. I don't think that's true. I think what happened was the Ravens came over the top with a crazy offer. I heard a little bit of the podcast. I don't think he said the Jets offer was insulting to him, because there was everyone in the business from Jeremy Fowler to Zach Rosenblatt to local reporter to national reporter all said that the Jets were this close to signing him. They wouldn't be this close to signing him if the offer was quote unquote insulting to him. So that's not what I heard. Okay, I like Chark. Okay, we got a lot of DJ Chark people in here. Okay, let's see. Co says, I think it's penciled in that we get Brock Bowers, especially if we sign Mike Williams. If not, then Fuaga. Interesting. I mean, we'll see. There's no problem going offensive tackle because you can never have enough of those, and they don't have one for the future right now. Brock Bowers would be fun. He would be fun, as long as Aaron Rodgers is cool with it, and we could see how he's used. But he seems like a guy who can line up in the backfield, the slot. Very creative, very creative. Shadow Realm. Remember when people wanted JD's job because he didn't sign Josh Dobbs? Trade for him, I think, is what you're talking about. But even still, it is what it is. I was wrong on it. I said last year, well, I guess. I said last year, last offseason, that the Jets should, like Zach Wilson's going to be on the team, so it just is what it is. Like if Aaron Rodgers is down, we're screwed. Which that part of it was true, but they should have gotten a more proven, like a Tyrod Taylor, who we have now, where you have a chance. You have a chance. I don't know if you're winning a Super Bowl with Tyrod Taylor, but shoot, keep the boat afloat because not every injury is season ending. But yeah, a lot of people are not happy about that. Ricky New York, my boy. What's up, Ricky? Welcome to the show. I know I'm super behind on comments, so I'm trying to catch up. Tyler Guyton is another one I like. He has re-entered the conversation for me if they trade back. I think that's another good point by Jeffrey, part of our Board Grade Superfan Club. AR8 will elevate any semi-competent wide receiver, Lazard, especially with that prior relationship. That should only help, I think. Tyrone says, I want Justin Hardy for our special teams unit, Boy Green. Good player. And, like, the Jets special teams unit was elite last year. I know he was hurt in the middle. And think about the Chargers game where they gave up that return touchdown. They had a few lapses. The overall unit was great, but they had a few lapses on some of those. That was Irv Charles, and Justin Hardy wasn't there. If you're running back the special teams unit, which they are, Greg Zuerlein re-signed, Thomas Morstead re-signed, why not bring back Hardy? He's a leader on the team. He's inspirational. He's good. Like, it's beyond just a human interest story. Like, he's a good player, man. So, yeah, I'd love to see him back. And people are calling him old. He's like, how old is Justin Hardy? He's probably like 30. So I don't know the people calling him old. Let me see. Justin Hardy. What's the age on Justin Hardy? Let me see here real quick. He's 30 years old. Why are we calling him old, people? Come on, man. Come on. Come on now. Good morning from Canada. Okay. Good morning, Michael. Thanks for joining us from the Great White North. Danny AF wouldn't be the first overrated Jets quarterback go from New York to the Rams. I'm not going to entertain that, Danny. I don't even know who you're talking about. How dare you? How dare you, sir? It's okay. The Jets are coming for the Bills, pal. AFC East. You see this offensive line? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're back, baby. We're taking that division. So I hope you know that, Danny. Big Buffalo Bills guy on my Twitter account. He chiming in. The Jets are winning the division. Absolutely. Yeah, Roger, I addressed it earlier on Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I've heard nothing about it, but it could be of interest potentially as a young, interesting player. Rich Samini says the Jets are, quote-unquote, definitely adding a third quarterback. Who that is, draft, or what have you, is still to be determined. So I see that question in here. So DTR, maybe. Let's see. Move Zach Wilson, a wide receiver. That could be interesting. $5.5 million all of a sudden for a wide receiver 3. LOL. Oh, geez. Yeah, I don't know. I do wonder, though. I wonder if does he leave and then he just stinks just like everybody else? Probably. The Quentin Williams double pressure rate, that's true, too. Let's see. Yeah, that would be embarrassing if the Jets end up cutting Zach Wilson. Jackson asked me on Twitter, surprised by the Becton market thus far? Absolutely not. I mean, I thought the market was going to be this. I thought there was a small chance that young offensive tackle in a scarce offensive tackle market that maybe someone leaps because of the desperation. But I thought the more likely case was that all the teams approach him with basically the same thing. And the only team I heard him visit, although there was 2 or 3 teams interested pre-free agency, I heard from Samini, but was everyone approaches him with a 1-year prove-it deal. He picks the best place to do it and rocks. That's why I thought there was a chance he could come back because he wanted to play with Aaron Rodgers so bad. And if everyone's offering a 1-year prove-it deal, why not? But now, obviously, there's no clear starting gig, so he'd come back as depth. And I'm sure he doesn't want to do that, probably. So, yeah, not surprised. Not surprised. I'm rooting for him, though. I like Mekhi. Follows me on social media. We've been friendly with one another. I like Mekhi a lot. I hope he finds a job. Offensive tackles are scarce, man. So hopefully he gets a good opportunity. Jared B., very interesting question. One that I've actually pondered this week. Jared B. on YouTube asks, any chance they keep Zach Wilson on the roster and hope for an opening on another team so to injuries? Yeah, that's possible. It's different than the Justin Fields thing to me because, Caleb Williams, Justin Fields, there's a chance Justin Fields starts over Caleb Williams. Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson ain't starting over Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson ain't being higher than Tyrod Taylor on the depth chart. So there is a world where you kind of cryogenically freeze him. You say, hey, Zach, we're going to keep paying you. Just stay home until we figure it out. The 49ers kind of did that with Jimmy Garoppolo, and then the situation unfolded however it did, and they ended up bringing Jimmy back on a revised deal. So sure, yeah, I guess there is an opportunity because again, they get no cap savings anyway. So maybe they do just put him on ice, so to speak, and say we'll try to do what we can for you. That's possible. Or they could just look to rip the Band-Aid off. But yeah, I think it is a possibility. Absolutely. Maybe we just get news tomorrow or later today. Hey, he got cut. And I'd be like, all right. But I think there is a chance to your point, Jared B. Yeah, Brandon. I'm going to be honest. Brandon on YouTube says, Huntley, the biggest Pro Bowl joke in NFL history. You know, I'm a diehard football fan, a diehard football enthusiast, and I used to love the Pro Bowl. Obviously, go back to the Sean Taylor days where he's laying out punters, but I've defended football. I've defended it all, said, yes, I love football. I love the Pro Bowl. And then when it became this two-handed touch thing, and then Huntley came in, I couldn't defend it anymore. Huntley. What year was that? Did old Huntley, there he is. Tyler Huntley. Let's see. What year was he a Pro Bowler? This is going to be disgusting, I bet. I remember he was a Pro Bowler in 2022. Okay. Let's go to the stats for old he was an injury replacement for Tyrod Taylor. His situation was met with blah, blah, blah. So let's go. Tyler Huntley stats. Oh, boy. I already know these are going to be bad. He probably had 8 touchdowns, 6 picks. 2022. 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Oh, boy. How did this happen? I mean, honestly. Even if the NFL, because the NFL heard it behind the scenes before they made the selection, they got to be like, wait a second, we can't do this. I think obviously the Pro Bowl's dead. They just do a flag football game now. But eventually we may get to a point where it's just the All-Pro list comes out. All the All-Pros don't line up and start playing football. The All-Pro list is an honorary thing. Hey, you made first-team All-Pro. Hey, you made second-team All-Pro. And the player's like, cool, I made it. And then you put it on their ledger and boom, it's over. There's no game. There's no alternates. Hey, Brandon, you're a first-team All-Pro YouTube commenter. Boom. There's no game you have to participate in. You just have it. And then it doesn't get torn down because of a 7th alternate. It's just straight up. That's what you are. That's an honor. Move on. They'll probably always do this weird kind of mini games thing because get all the players gathered, goof around, and do something. But it's never going to be what the Pro Bowl was before. So, yeah, I think that was honestly probably the final nail in the Pro Bowl. NC says, wonder if the Jets will have Rodgers in a meeting with Mike Williams. According to Josina Anderson, CBS NFL insider, Tyron Smith will be in the meeting with the Jets with Mike Williams. Now, that seems kind of weird. Why would an offensive tackle be recruiting? But hey, whatever helps. I don't really know the game plan there, but apparently he's going to be in the room or part of this full court press on Mike Williams. So, all righty. Let's see what happens there. Dakota says, love this O-line so much every day now. Yeah, the offensive line is freaking awesome, man. Tyron Smith, John Simpson, Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, Morgan Moses. That unit is going to erase people. This is a unit that has a chance to be above average. And above average to me is 15 and beyond. And then with health, top 10? Higher? I mean, they got all... Tyron Smith's one of the best left tackles in football. ADT, if he stays healthy, is an all-pro. Tippmann is going to be better in year 2 than he was in year 1. And again, John Simpson, if he's your worst offensive lineman, you're not doing too shabby. Plus, you got Morgan Moses, who is just rock solid. I just love this unit. Absolutely love it. Matthias says, Matthias says on YouTube, offensive line in the first round, no matter what, you never be in that situation again. Now, I don't want to be pigeonholed in a position where I have to take the 7th offensive tackle, the 5th offensive tackle, the whatever offensive tackle. I don't know. Do they get second whack? Is it third whack? I think you have to be in the moment. I don't think you could just go into the draft and say, I'm taking offensive tackle no matter what. You probably had to do that pre-Tyron Smith. But I think Tyron Smith at least gives you a little flexibility. But both of those guys are on 1-year deals. Tyron signed a 1-year deal, and Morgus is in the last year of his deal. So that's got to be the full thought process there for the pick. But there is versatility with it. So, no, I don't just want to randomly take any offensive tackle that falls. Joe Alt, okay. I think I said this on a different show. It must have been yesterday. If one of these 4 players are on the board, I'm not moving. Joe Alt, or one of the top 3 receivers, Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, or Marvin Harrison Jr. If any of those are on the board, I'm sticking and picking. One of those bastards is becoming a Jet. Now, the chances any of those guys are on the board are probably unlikely, but hey, the draft is the draft, man. Crazy crap happens. Maybe Olu Fushano's in that group too. We'll see. Dakota says, any offensive tackle at pick 10 or any receiver. It's going to be, let's put it this way. It's going to be very hard for Jet fans to be upset with what they do. Tight end, Brock Bowers, like some people might be upset with it, but pass catcher. Wide receiver, pass catcher. Offensive line, phenomenal. Like the only thing that could piss people off is somehow they go defense. So to me, outside of that, Jet fans should be pretty thrilled on draft day. DeVito might get cut if Giants bring in another quarterback. Maybe. Yeah. Tommy Cutlets to New Jersey. He just stays at home with his mom and now joins the Jets. Hadn't considered that, but I guess that could be on the bingo card. Former Syracuse guy. Actually, I have a great story. I've got an autographed Tommy DeVito ball back here. I think I've told it before. I'll have to tell that again in the future. That's a crazy story. Perhaps another time. Wait. Was there another Zach Wilson contract question? Let me see here. Let's see if I can answer this for you. Who asked this? James Fitzpatrick on YouTube. Was there any salary cap ramifications with releasing him with the cap? Now, I believe if you're just talking about Zach Wilson, it's just he is set to count $11.1 million against a cap this year for the Jets. If they cut him, he's counting $11.1 million against a cap, and there's no savings even if you post unit. So there's just no cap relief whatsoever. Now, the only relief you could get is if you trade him. Then there's a chance. If you trade his contract as is, you save half, $5.5 million. That's on another team to pay. Or we could go in a position where there's nothing on the market, like the Jets can't get anything. Then the Jets would have to eat some of that 5.5 to entice another team to take him. There's been other people that said they might have to attach a draft pick and eat money to try to get it. And all that's like, oh, geez, what are we talking about here? So, yeah, there's no cap relief if they cut him. Absolutely zero, zip and pip. But if someone would take the $5.5 million, you could kind of like buy the $5.5 million in salary cap if that was important to you and attach a 7th round pick to it. Then maybe a team will take him to get the free draft pick and then they eat a little bit of the money. That's possible, I guess. Who was the guy that they were looking to be a senior assistant and said became an OC? I have been sworn to secrecy. I'm not allowed to say. But I guess you guys can do the math and look around the league if you want to. There was a senior assistant the Jets were looking at that became an offensive coordinator in the NFL. And the Jets tried to hire him, and they got a massive promotion. But the people I spoke with, I cannot reveal that. I'm afraid. I'd fit the circus well, Paul. I will take that as a compliment, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah, the bearded lady, maybe? I don't know. Happy birthday to Hawk. Happy birthday. Oh, that's nice. Happy birthday, Hawk. Rob Calabrese, I'm glad he's gone, to be honest. Was not a big fan. Maybe trade Cobb. He's a free agent, so we cannot trade Cobb, I'm afraid, Phil. And I don't know anyone who would trade for his old body. Not sure. I'd imagine not. All right. Can I say Super Bowl? I've been saying Super Bowl. My expectations for this year are the same as last year. I am all friggin' in, baby. My chips are in the middle of the table. When you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you have an offensive line like this, you have a defense like this, and we haven't even hit the draft yet, so who knows what else they could add. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, we're chasing the chip. We're trying to get that lonely Super Bowl trophy some company. That's for damn sure. Who is this year's Tank Dell? Brendan asks. I'm thinking Roman Wilson. Could be. Who's that? Tank Dell went like, what, second round or something? Where did Tank Dell go? Let's see. Tank Dell, real quick. Draft stock. For some people say third round. Some people say second. Let me double check right now. Tank Dell was he was a third round pick. So he's a 69th overall pick. Who is the 69th overall pick? Well, the Jets have the 72nd overall pick, so they're right in the Tank Dell range. We'll see. I don't know. That's a good question. Who ends up being that guy? Who ends up being the mid-round receiver? We haven't had one of those. Ricky Pearsall is going to go in second, but I really like Ricky Pearsall. Gator joining us here. Did you see Green being upset last night that he was called one of 2 greatest beards in Jets content? He was curious who the other one was. Hello. I mean, come on, people. Green Bean should have known that. He's the OG. He's got some seasoning in that beard, but and so do I. It's hard to see on camera, but I got a couple of silver whiskers in here. I'm proud. I will don them proudly. I love Green Bean. He's the best. Our schedules are opposite, or I would have him on this show all the time. I would have him on the show all the time. Unfortunately, our schedules are oppo, so we can't ever link up. But I hope we do get a chance in the future because I love talking to Green Bean. He's one of my favorite people on this earth. Cut Zach Wilson. Okay, we're getting a lot of cut Zach Wilson here. Jared B says, even if we did a 50-50 split on the contract, I'd be happy with a 6. Yeah, the only 50-50 we could do is 50-50 on the 5.5, not 50-50 on the full contract. Well, I guess the only 50-50 on the full contract is we eat the half we have to, and they eat the other half, which maybe would be worth a late round pick, which could be interesting. All right, let's see any final comments here. I'll try to get some final stuff here before we sign off here on Boy Green Daily. Here we go. That's no question. VR Diesel Boy Green is the best roundhouse kick of all the YouTube content creators. There is no question about it. 360 roundhouse kick, front leg. Oh yeah, I got some kicks in the bag, baby. Backspin kick's one of my favorites. That's a great counter kick. That's one of my favorites as well. Hook kick. That's another good one. Step behind side kick, inside crescent kick, outside crescent kick. You can kind of get a little freaky there. 360 backspin kick. That's another good one. I'm a big board-breaking competition guy on top of my sparring. That's really important. All right, everybody. What a wild show. 1,100 people in the room right now. We appreciate you. Over 900 on Twitter. Make sure you guys hit that hit that heart button. What is that, a favorite? What do we call that anymore? Just a like, I guess. But anywho, hit that follow button. We appreciate you. We're live every single day at 7:30 in the morning, and then the 160 on YouTube. Make sure you guys do the free way to contribute to the program. That is by liking the video and hitting the subscribe button. We'll be back live at 3 o'clock to talk about the latest on this Mike Williams situation. I'll have James Woody joining me. What a wild stream it was today, Matthias. You're right. What a wild stream. And then shout out to Ricky in New York and all you wonderful bastards in here. Make sure you guys join the Boy Green Superfan Club. That is the option on YouTube. That's where you guys can support the channel and get some shout outs on the show and all that jazz. It's awesome. We love you. No matter what. Make sure you guys show your support. Appreciate you. We'll be back later today at 3 o'clock live. Hope you guys can check us out. Peace.